Hi there, good morning. My name is Deidre Martinez. I'm the CEO of the Sheboygan County Chamber of Commerce. This morning we are going to meet with our mayoral candidates for the City of Sheboygan, have a great conversation, learn a little bit more about their vision, and help you as voters be educated on how to vote here in just a couple of weeks. So a couple of just also a mayoral candidate, and with that I will ask Mayor Sorenson to please give a introduction of yourself.
Sounds good. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Deidre. Thank you, Chamber of Commerce, for hosting this forum this morning. It's been a great honor to serve as the mayor of my hometown these last 4 years, and with the strong support from many community members, neighbors, local business owners, I'm excited to run for re-election. As you know, I was born and raised right here in Sheboygan, went to South High School, graduated from UW-Milwaukee, and after college was elected to the City Council in 2017 for City Forward. So thanks, everybody, for coming today.
Awesome. And John, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you. My name is John Belanger, and first I would like to thank Deidre and the Chamber for hosting this event. I did this last year when I was running for alderman, and it was a very well attended and viewed event, and I appreciate you putting this forth. Scott, thank you for recording this for the public that aren't able to attend, and for those that are in attendance, thank you for showing up. Again, my name is John Belanger. I'm running for mayor of Sheboygan because the city deserves leadership that shows up, listens, and delivers. Reduce city debt, fought for responsible development that actually benefits Sheboygan. I delivered real results. I believe in development by design, not default, a real plan for economic growth, housing, and city planning. Sheboygan was once the best city to raise a family in. We can make that a reality again. On April 1st, you have a choice: more neglect, more excuses, or real leadership. I'm running for mayor and move issues within the city forward. Right now, we've got people that don't show up to committee meetings, and it's frustrating. We actually ended up having to push back the Evergreen Park bike path, the mountain bike path at Evergreen Park, because the first district did not have any representation on that issue. So that is frustrating. So I would work together to make sure that people attend meetings, attend the council meetings. I would work with the department heads. I think we've got a great group of department heads finally in place. We still need to get a development director in place. I would work with the city administrator and develop a comprehensive plan that would bring forth a planned development strategy. Right now we don't have a development strategy because the comprehensive plan is 4 years overdue in being updated, and that would enhance the actions that we take and how we allocate funds within the city. So right now we've got the marina, we've got Fountain Park, we've got a bunch of parcels that are available we've got the pedestrian footbridge. All these are being tried to be developed singularly with no effective plan on how they're going to impact each other and how funds should be allocated and which should be prioritized. So that's what I would do.
Thank you. Mayor Sorenson, would you like me to repeat the question?
Could you please? Thank you.
Absolutely. So as mayor, you will need to work with the Common Council and city departments to serve the community. How would you foster effective collaboration with the City Council and prioritize the issues facing Sheboygan in the next term?
Yeah, I think one of the key parts for collaboration is working together and having a positive outlook on the future. As I said, Sheboygan has so much opportunity and potential, and we have a fairly new council, and after April we'll have maybe 2 new council members as well, that make sure that we know what our city priorities are, making sure we're investing in public safety, that we're investing in our infrastructure, we're investing in our parks and those community assets that people are talking about out in the community. I think our strength really lies within our neighborhoods, and I always encourage aldermen to work with their neighborhood associations so that you can hear what those solutions are, whether it's talking about investments in our parks, whether it's talking about reckless driving and speeding in the neighborhoods. It's making sure we're getting outside that city hall bubble, making sure we're talking with the neighbors and the constituents to meet them where they're at, so we can bring those ideas forward to move our community in a positive direction.
Thank you. And I know that I'd like to ask a quick follow-up, and John had mentioned comprehensive plan, and there's been some discussion in prior candidate forums that you both have participated in that there is a lack of a comprehensive plan currently in the city of Sheboygan. Can you speak to that, Mayor Sorenson?
Yeah, so we do have a comprehensive plan. It is outdated and we are updating it. I think one thing we wanted to be diligent on is not just going cheap and spending more money on a consultant that's not going to give us the product that we want. We've actually already started the outreach process, and I got to host a community event called Ride with Ryan, an interactive bike tour of the city partnering with Sheboygan Active Transportation to talk about our needs, to talk about transportation challenges, to talk about development, to talk about land use. You know, we just don't want to shoot from the hip when we're developing this comprehensive plan. It needs a lot of detailed community input and engagement, and it's been great to partner with Bay Lakes Regional Plan Commission, who is helping develop the content of the comprehensive plan. But we move forward. We've had many community outreach events at National Night Out, at the Farmers Market, at neighborhood associations, so it's exciting that we're moving forward with our comprehensive plan. We're making sure that it reflects the needs and the values of our community as well, and engaging with those stakeholders so that we're just not copying and pasting what has not worked in the past. But it's also about not just doing a comprehensive plan and keeping it on the shelf to collect dust. It's about how we implement it. How do we update it? How do we share that information with council members, decision makers? And I think that's something that we've lacked in the past with the old comprehensive plan. So I'm looking forward to having a more vibrant plan that we can actually fulfill and proceed forward with.
Thank you. John, would you like to share some additional details about what you believe a comprehensive plan should look like and what might be missing currently?
So Ryan mentioned that the comprehensive plan is slightly outdated. It's more than slightly outdated. It hasn't been updated since 2011. State statute requires that you have it updated every 10 years. So we are 4 or 5 years past that date. I realize the pandemic was, at the beginning of that, but we've had plenty of time to do that. I'm frustrated because it is a guide for the city on how development should proceed and how resources should be allocated. And it hasn't been taken seriously. It hasn't been updated in a timely fashion. And Bay Lakes, Ryan did mention, it was brought in. I'm on the Plan Commission. I was part of the first meeting in introducing it. That was back in October. We haven't had a single thing since then. It is going at beyond a glacial pace of getting done, and it's extremely frustrating. It's not that hard to update. It's going to take community involvement. Stakeholders are going to need to be involved, but we need to get this in place, get within the state statute, get it updated, and use it as a tool to help us move forward as a city.
Wonderful, thank you. Ryan, we're going to transition a little bit and talk about public safety. And Mayor Sorenson, we will start with you. Our next question about public safety, really keeping residents safe is a fundamental responsibility of city government. What is your approach to ensuring that Sheboygan remains a safe place to live? And in your view, what strategies or initiatives are needed for public safety? And how will you work with our police department and community to prevent crime and address safety concerns?
Thank you. Yeah, we've done a lot of innovative things when it comes to public safety, both from police to public health to fire department as well. I think first and foremost, it's, again, listening to the neighbors. It's going to neighborhood associations. It's talking with our constituents to see where their needs are. It's also about talking with our business owners. Public safety is a tool that can help catalyze public investment in our community. Folks don't want to invest in a community if they don't feel safe here. And I think, again, it's also about listening to our frontline workers. It's about talking with our police officers. Ever since I've been mayor, every year I've done a ride along with our police officers to get a sense of, hey, what's working, what's not, what tools do you need so that you can effectively do your job. And we've implemented a lot of new strategies based on that as well. We've also partnered with the Sheboygan County Health and Human Services Department to create a crisis co-response team to making sure that when we get mental health related calls that we can provide those services directly to them. In our 2 budgets ago, we were able to add more police officers, more firefighters, and provide more tools and resources for our cops and firefighters to better do their job. So I think it's about community engagement. It's listening to our employees that are doing the work. I think that is effectively a big role and responsibility of partnering, working together, and talking with our cops and our firefighters along the way as well.
Thank you. Alderman Belanger, would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure, thank you.
What is your approach to ensuring that Sheboygan remains a safe place to live? In your view, what strategies or initiatives are needed for public safety, and how will you work with our police department and community to prevent crime and address safety concerns?
Thank you. When I was first an alderman, did the ride-along and did the police academy, Citizens Academy, and that was an eye-opening event for me to see what actually transpires in the city. I rode along during the second shift. I did multiple things second shift as part of the police academy, and it's what happens at night versus what happens at day within the city it's completely different. It's 180 degrees difference. And it was, again, what I said it was eye-opening. So it brought to light, different issues within the city that need to be addressed. What I would do is I would make sure that the departments are funded properly. In the past year, the police department has been severely understaffed. Right now, they are just getting back up to staff, and there's going to be a learning curve for those officers. The 2022 budget that Ryan had, the police had a 1.5% increase, the fire had a 0.7% increase, yet the library had a 2.35% increase in their budget. So what I would do is I would prioritize public protection. We are going to look to do the new fire departments and a training facility possibly. So that's going to help with the fire department, because right now we don't have adequate facilities for both genders of firefighters. So that's going to upgrade that and make it more attractive for people to become firefighters. Also, I would address the homeless issue. The homeless issue is a safety issue as well. And right now, I've got business owners that are coming up to me and saying, I've got customers that feel unsafe. I've got people that don't want to rent from my building because it's unsafe, and we need to address that, and I would do that as well.
Thank you. And we're going to dig a little bit more into that, because that really does help us to lead from that public safety into another important aspect, which is the community well-being and how we support our residents in need. So John, I would like to start with you on this question. As mayor, how would you support or partner with these organizations to address issues like affordable housing, poverty, public health, homelessness in Sheboygan? And additionally, what role should the city play in assisting residents who are struggling or improving overall quality of life for our citizens?
We need to have a comprehensive approach. I've said this multiple times that I think it's a multi-jurisdictional approach. So it's not just the city that is impacted, it's the whole county. So what I would do, I think the city needs to play the leadership role in this and get this moving forward, but I would engage the county administrator, the sheriff's department, the police department, Aurora Behavioral and Mental Health, the NGOs, the nonprofits, the Sheboygan Police Department. I would get Plymouth, Elkhart Lake, Kohler involved. Right now we've got those departments dropping off homeless people into the city of Sheboygan, because Sheboygan has the majority of the resources for these people, and those cities don't and can't handle it. Yet, they're kind of passing their problems off onto us. We need to look for and minimize the homelessness. There are some great nonprofits that are the Warming House, Salvation Army, in different food shelters that are working with these people, but I think we can do better. We can minimize the problem that we have. If we want to create more density downtown, the homeless problem it's only going to exacerbate if we ignore it and don't address it. So it needs to be addressed.
Thank you, John. Mayor Sorensen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of great partnership opportunities that we have in the city. As an active member of the Sheboygan County Housing Coalition, which is an organization made up of local leaders, nonprofit organizations, public health, law enforcement, city officials, it's definitely that tool and that mechanism that's taken the step forward in tackling some of these issues. You know, a lot of these issues that are impacting Sheboygan are not unique to us. They're impacting many other cities across Wisconsin and across the United States. But I think we've been very proactive partnering with our local downtown business owners within the Business Improvement District, creating the Wendell Project to help empower local leaders and neighbors and business owners so we can address issues like homelessness, outreach, quality of life issues as well. And I want to underscore some of the collaborative approaches that we have done. Partnering with Health and Human Services, we created 2 new programs. One was the Crisis Co-Response Program, which I mentioned before, but also the Neighborhood Program, the Neighborhood Social Work Program that we initiated with our PD and Public Health as well. We're proactively putting mental health experts into our community so that we can be proactive in nipping it in the bud before it gets out of hand. Granted, we still have a lot of more work to do, but that's been a great step forward, and we've seen some data-driven results that have helped lower mental health related incidences with our police department. So it's a step forward. It's about investing in public safety. It's about investing in those creative tools and processes so that we can tackle some of these issues and making sure we have strong quality of life in Sheboygan.
Thank you. And I'd like to just do a quick follow-up on that, Mayor Sorensen. John mentioned that we have some other community partners throughout the county who are bringing folks into our community because the City of Sheboygan does have more resources than others. Have conversations already begun with some of those different community partners? And is there any particular reason why we are focusing on bringing the most vulnerable in our community right into our Main Street Business Improvement District, small town USA area?
Yeah, so we've had several conversations about these. I have monthly meetings with the county leadership. We involve Health and Human Services with our neighborhood revitalization meetings as well, and we talk about these issues firsthand. You know, Sheboygan, we have a lot of the nonprofit resources right here in our downtown, like Salvation Army, like the Warming Center, Safe Harbor as well. These are a lot of great organizations that do a lot of great work, but they're at capacity sometimes, and then there is an overflow. But I also think it's about educating, those nonprofit leaders and our law enforcement partners as well, to make sure that they understand that when there is a capacity issue, that they're just not dropping folks off in our downtown community, but providing them with the correct resources so that we can get them out of the cycle of poverty as well and get them off the streets. So we've made some progress regarding that, but we've always had communication with HHS and with the county leadership, but there's no magic wand that's going to solve this issue unless we all work together.
John, would you like to add to that?
A couple weeks ago, we had a committee of the whole meeting, and it was solely focused on the housing issue. Ryan wasn't there, but I did bring it up again that we need to have a collaborative approach and engage all the different stakeholders within the county. That meeting focused mainly on affordable housing, and we are doing things to address affordable housing, but affordable housing is a relative term. What's affordable to some people is not affordable for other people. If you've got mental health issues and you can't hold a job and you have no income, nothing is affordable for you. So there needs to be some resources and some things that we can do. But again, I think it needs to be a collaborative approach with all the stakeholders within the community or within the county to address it. It can't be, just singularly put on the city, because the city has the resources within the city limits, we're just going to put everybody here. Again, it negatively affects the businesses, especially in the bid district, the library. I've got a police officer that's told me he's got a 13-year-old daughter. He says he will never let his daughter in that library because of what he's seen go on there. And I've heard other stories about it too. We've got a fantastic asset in the library, and it's getting a negative opinion because of the safety issue, and people just don't feel safe going in there.
Thank you, John. And John, we'll start with you. We're going to switch gears here. I know we're getting close on time. These 30 minutes go by very quickly, don't they? This question is going to be more focused on economic development. So Sheboygan has seen significant development and investment in recent years, and with that comes both opportunities and challenges, some of which we've already discussed today. How would you promote economic growth and job creation in Sheboygan while ensuring it benefits our local residents and neighborhoods? More specifically, what is your vision for balancing new development and tourism with preserving the character of our community and addressing infrastructure or resources that come with growth?
I go back again to having a comprehensive plan and development by design, not default. So if you have a plan, you can follow the plan and address the different things like housing. We need apartments. We need single-family homes as well. So apartments are going to get young people to Sheboygan. Availability of affordable single-family homes are going to keep families in Sheboygan. So we need to do that, and the comprehensive plan would help that. I have been focused on the South Point Business District or Business Park that remains empty. We're paying. All the infrastructure's in there. We're paying the debt on the infrastructure because we don't have any income because it's empty. So if we are able to address that in conjunction with housing, so I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can address the housing issue and deal with the South Point Business Park at the same time. What the South Point Business Park is going to do, it's going to increase the tax base, it's going to bring jobs, and it's going to bring more people to Sheboygan. It's going to create more demand for housing, but we can address the housing. We've got a number of housing projects on the books coming up in the near future, and that's how I would address it. I just think, again, to go back, we need the comprehensive plan, we need development by design, not default, and we need to focus on the South Point Business Park.
Thank you, John. Mayor Sorenson.
Yeah, this is something that is really exciting for our community. Over the last few years, myself and city leadership have been going on what I've been coining our roadshow. We've been meeting with many of our local employers across the county, not just the city of Sheboygan, talking with American Orthodontics, talking with Miller Poor Sigma, talking with Old Wisconsin, talking with HTT, Old World Creamery. You go down the list, we've met with them. The two concerns that we really address with them is how can we create a partnership? How can the local government help catalyze workforce development and help support their businesses? All of our businesses in our community are wonderful employers that want to grow and continue to invest in Sheboygan. However, they say one of their snags to development in increasing their workforce is the lack of housing across the board, from apartments to single-family homes to townhomes as well. We are stuck in a dynamic market that a lot of these companies want to grow and expand, but they can't bring new folks here because there is a lack of housing. But I think in terms of that as well too, in communicating with our businesses, big and small, we've heard how we can make better process improvements for project approvals in the city government. We've cut red tape, we've reduced project approval processes from a 7-step to 4-step processes, making sure we're streamlining the internal bureaucracy of the government so that we can be a catalyst for growth and making it easier for businesses to invest in our community. So I think definitely we got to keep our foot on the gas when it comes to building more housing in our community, but it's also making sure that we can cut the red tape behind the scenes inside city government as well to help support the process moving forward.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask a quick follow-up question, kind of along those same lines. We'll start with you first, Mayor Sorenson. And we've talked a lot about the economic growth, comprehensive plans. John has shared, by design, not default. There are currently significant plans for development in a lot of areas across the city, from the marina to Fountain Park, Evergreen Park, and more. Some residents describe these rapid changes as appearing haphazard with too many irons in the fire currently. How will you, as a city leader, ensure the voices of citizens are heard and acknowledged throughout these development processes?
Thank you. Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's so important to engage in the community, and a lot of the projects that you just mentioned have been driven by community outreach and input. If you look at the Marina Plan, we had several open house style community engagement opportunities. We did a week-long, what was called a charrette, to engage the community about what they wanted in those situations. For Fountain Park, we've talked with many folks who utilize that park, from the farmers market to the Pops Band to some of the surrounding businesses as well too. I think engaging the stakeholders that impact or utilize those assets is very important. But I think it's also a two-way street. We got to get outside the city hall bubble. We got to meet neighbors where they're at. Go to neighborhood associations. Go to organizations like the Chamber, so that we can invest properly in our public spaces as well. And I think some of the results that have came out of these projects, they're kind of like the Sears catalog. There's a lot of ideas in there. I don't think myself or John are supportive of everything that's outlined in those plans, but I think as we move forward, as we pursue grants and new funding opportunities to invest in those spaces, we want to make sure that we're getting the feedback from our constituents and key stakeholders as well.
Thank you.
You're not old enough to know what the Sears catalog is.
Well, it is around a little bit.
Yes, when you could order a house.
Yeah.
Yes, them were the days. John, did you want to add anything to
Could
that?
you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So talking about the plans for development in a lot of areas across the city, so the Marina, Fountain Park, Evergreen Park, some residents currently describe these as rapid changes and appearing haphazard with too many irons in the fire. How would you, as a city leader, ensure the voices of citizens are heard and acknowledged throughout these development processes?
I kind of concur that it has been somewhat haphazard in the way that it's been approached. It hasn't been, the communication to the public hasn't been very good as far as the marina, the Fountain Park project in particular. Ryan did mention we did have public outreach, we did have community engagement, and that went well. But then when we got the plans, we've got two plans, and one said it was going to be $77 million, one said it was going to be $4 or $5 million. Both of them had some of the same features, like an ice ribbon. We're not going to have an ice ribbon at both places. We might not have an ice ribbon at either one. So for me, again, it goes back to development by design, not default, having a comprehensive plan, looking how we're going to do this. Again, these were concept ideas. We do need to upgrade Fountain Park. We do need to address the marina. But with the marina, I have to look at the pedestrian footbridge. That's under design right now. We've got the Armory site. We need to develop that. We have the Pent-Air site. All of those things are going to impact, and again, I'll go back to the South Point Business Park. If we have more jobs, more people, it's going to impact all of those things. We need to have a comprehensive plan to look at how we're going to do that, how we're going to allocate resources. We also have a parklet on 8th Street. And, it's literally a block away from Fountain Park. Are we going to invest and keep this parklet that basically funds or serves one business? Or are we going to put more money into Fountain Park that serves more of the community? So those are questions and things that need to be addressed, and without a plan, they're hard to address. And throughout each step of the process, I've brought that up, that I thought this needs to be more collaborative and looked at in total versus one-offs for each one of these things.
Thank you so much. We're going to talk a little bit about tourism before we transition into our last question and then final comments. As tourism continues to grow in Sheboygan and provides different revenue streams that elevate our community economically while reducing the strain on local citizens, let's talk about the role of a DEMO, or a destination marketing organization. Essentially, they're responsible for marketing the destination to potential visitors, working with businesses to improve visitor experience, developing destination programs such as events and festivals, providing information to leisure travelers, and then offering details on top tourist spots, cultural activities, etc. I will start with you, John, again. Are you pleased with the destination marketing organization that the city currently contracts with? And what expectations have been put in place to ensure that Sheboygan's DEMO, which receives a significant amount of funding through room tax dollars, roughly $1.79 million in government grants in fiscal year 2023, and about 47% of those going towards salaries and benefits specifically. Do you believe that they're spending those funds transparently and responsibly? Do you believe that we have good measures in place to hold them accountable? What might you do differently?
I don't know if they're as transparent as they should be or could be. I think this is a tremendous area of growth and improvement that we could have. I participated in the Winter Wine Walk this past weekend that the Chamber put on, and when I was registering, there was a couple that came in. They were visiting Sheboygan. They were at Field and Fork, heard about the event, wanted to come in and buy tickets. The event was unfortunately sold out, but it's things like that that I think we can do a lot more in advertising and making Sheboygan a destination for tourism. People don't realize the impact that the Kohler Company has in the county, and they've got a 5-star resort 4 miles away from us. We've got golfers coming by the thousands every summer, and at night they have, what do? They don't have anything to do. I think we could put some type of an entertainment district. We could have events, festivals, things like that to attract some of those dollars. They go back to the American Club or the Inn at Wood Lake and sit in their room and do nothing. The amount of tourism that happens within the county it's unbelievable, and I think we can capture a much larger share than we have and bring awareness to some of the things that we have. Charter fishing, the kiteboarding, sailboarding, anything on the lake, surfing. It's a fantastic venue. Summer is outstanding, and again, if we develop the Armory site, the Marina, DeLand Park, the way it should be done in a sound manner, I think it would even draw more people, and it would be even a greater destination. I think our lakefront is underutilized.
Thank you. Mayor Sorenson.
Thank you. Well, obviously tourism in Sheboygan is so strong, and that's how we got the nickname being the Malibu of the Midwest. We have such a diverse tourism economy, as John mentioned, from golfing to Road America to charter fishing to folks just wanting to get away and do a weekend trip, at Blue Harbor or downtown. Tourism is so strong and continues to grow every single season right here in Sheboygan. I think, there have been some improvements that have been made. I think there's a long way to go and making sure that our tourism entities are strong. One of the new programs that we created was a grant program through the DMO so that we can distribute and get funds back into organizations and nonprofits that draw tourism in our community. I've been on that committee that has distributed those funds to organizations like the Wild Center, to Bookworm Gardens, to the Arts Center. A lot of these organizations are the ones who are on the ground doing the work, bringing folks here, promoting our community, and telling the Sheboygan tourism message. And I think when we bring more folks here, they're spending their dollars in our local restaurants, our boutiques, our stores, our bars as well. And I think having those partnerships is key in making sure we're improving that too. Also, it's the mayor's responsibility to partner with different organizations to bring large events here. We brought the P1 powerboat races here the last 2 summers, and that was a brand new sport and industry that we brought to the shores of Lake Michigan that have seen a tremendous benefit for economic impact, helping businesses not just on the waterfront, but when we have the block party downtown as well. I think these are the exciting, dynamic things that we've done to improve our tourism economy.
And just a quick follow-up as we talk about destination marketing organizations. Mayor Sorenson, I'm curious, how would you, moving forward, what does it look like for you to hold our DMO accountable to set a set of standards that ensures responsible use of these room tax dollars? You mentioned powerboat races. We've had some other significant events over the years. And at times the community has felt that there's been a very siloed approach, and we've got some community partners, specifically our destination marketing organization, that just does not participate in these activities, to support these activities for our community. So what can city leadership do to hold them accountable to the $1.8 million check that that's being written to them through the City of Sheboygan's room tax dollar program?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's about, the mayor gets to appoint members on the room tax. We're going to get in the weeds here.
Sorry.
One of the mayor's responsibilities is to appoint representatives to what's called the Room Tax Commission. So it's a multi-jurisdictional board that gets to distribute the room tax dollars. So when you stay in a hotel, you pay a certain percentage called the room tax. That gets put in a pot of money that is then in turn used for tourism promotion and marketing as well. So it's about making sure you're appointing members to the Room Tax Commission that understand numbers and cents, who understand budgets. And I've appointed accountants, bank owners, as well as tourism professionals to that board so that we can increase the process. We've also changed the board structure for the DMO to bring in business owners and hotel leaders on that board so that we have experts in the field who better understand the needs for our community and the need for that as well too. And I think it's about informing the aldermen too. This is like an adjacent organization that we need to make sure alders are kept up to key on as well, and understand how tourism and business intertwine and how they lift each other up.
Did you want to add anything, John?
Sure. I think the number one thing is transparency and shedding light on where all these dollars are going and what's going on, how they're being spent, who's making these decisions, who's participating in events, who's not, what events are being funded, what events are not being funded. I think if we shed light on all that, it's going to become very apparent, is this working the way it was intended? Is it not? And again, Mayor Sorenson mentioned making the aldermen aware of what's going on. I'm aware of what's going on. I think a lot of aldermen are not aware of what's going on as far as the room tax and how it works and who's involved with it. And in that, we should have an annual meeting or accounting with this group and say, here's what we have, here's how we spent our money, here's where the money came from, here's what we're looking to do in the future, here's what we're asking of you, council, that type of thing. And this past year since I've been on the council, that hasn't happened. But I agree with Ryan that the council should be more engaged in this process and made aware. It is a significant dollar amount, and if it's not being equitably dispersed, that needs to be addressed.
Thank you. We'll do our final question and then we'll do closing comments. So talking about transparency and really kind of rolling into the conversation, transparency and accountability in government. Final question of today addresses the transparency and open government. Many residents value honesty, transparency, and accessibility in their local government. If elected, what steps would you take to improve transparency and communication between City Hall and the citizens in Sheboygan specifically? And how will you ensure the public stays informed about important decisions and feels included in the governing process? And we'll start with you, Mayor Sorenson.
Thank you, Deidre. First and foremost, I think it's about, again, getting outside the City Hall bubble. It's a mayor's responsibility to get out there and meet with community organizations, whether it's Rotary clubs, whether it's neighborhood associations, whether it's the Tavern League, for example, Landlord Association. These are organizations that are very involved in the community and about sharing all the projects and the great work that's being done in the city government. But it's also understanding and modernizing and using our resources that we do have, social media, our newsletter, making sure folks are aware of this. Over the last few years, we've seen tremendous increase of social media following on all of the city's platforms, from police, fire, DPW, City Hall, because a lot of folks are now on social media. Sadly, we don't have a local media and local newspaper that is on top of getting out the news that we have in the community. We try to engage with all of our media assets, whether it's the Sheboygan Press, Mackenzie Hamill on Team J4. We want to be proactive in giving them those information as well, and telling the great story of Sheboygan. But sometimes they just choose not to pick it up, but we want to make sure that we're driving that home and then communicating with our constituents every single day. Cities are dynamic organizations. We have a lot going on with many different departments, from police, fire to library, DPW to wastewater. We want to make sure that we're sharing the good news of this, that our cities are doing and that our employees are carrying out every single day.
Thank you. John, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I'm good with that. As far as transparency, I would have a much different approach. I would be radically transparent compared to what we have right now. And I can cite instances. Number one, I mentioned the cyber attack. That happened back in October. Nobody's known what's gone on since then. I know everything that's gone on. I know why it happened. I know who was involved. I know what dollars were allocated to address it. I know if it could have been prevented or not. There's a whole host of things that the public should know about what happened and why it happened, and it's just been swept under the rug, like it never did happen. And it had a significant effect on our police department, the sheriff department, communications, the operations within City Hall for a significant period of time. So, I would do a press release. I would do, I would scream from the mountain. I'd let everybody know what is going on, how this happened, how this came about. Certainly, there are things that happen within City Hall. People need to be held accountable, and if there's mistakes are made, things happen. They need to be acknowledged and addressed, and people need to be held accountable. So, there's that. Then there is the issue with the remote attendance. The remote attendance was an issue that passed the Finance and Personnel Committee back in January or February, and it hasn't come up on the council agenda yet. I've asked several times in meetings, and Ryan has gavelled me down as being out of order and won't address why that issue is not being brought forth for discussion amongst the aldermen. So, I wouldn't withhold anything. Anything that passes committee would come straight forward right back to council, and it would be discussed openly and publicly, and a resolution would come forth as far as that goes. We also had an issue with a settlement on a court case for a former HR director.
I'll give you just a couple seconds to wrap up,
okay,
just because of time. Thank you.
And that was brought forth to the council. Instead of going to closed session to make all the aldermen aware, it was an abnormal process. It didn't happen the way it should have. And again, I'd be transparent about that as well.
Thank you. And because we are beyond our time, I will ask John if you would like to give your closing comments for today, and then Mayor Sorenson will have you give yours, and we'll wrap up this portion of today's forums.
Thank you again, Deidre. I enjoyed this, and thank you for the people that are here. Scott, again, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself, tell you about why I would be different. My candidacy would be transparent. I would focus on, again, the comprehensive plan, development by design, not default. I would be a good steward of the resources, the dollars that the city has. We've had in the last year $380,000 worth of settlements for former employees, and that doesn't count legal fees. That brings it up close to $1 million. Those were self-inflicted wounds that didn't need to happen. So I would be more a better steward of our finances with the city as well. And I look forward to openness, honesty, collaboration. I would address the homeless issue in a collaborative manner, and I would just ask for your vote on the 1st of April, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Mayor Sorenson.
Well, thanks again, Deidre and the Chamber for having this program today. Thanks for everybody in the audience. It's been an honor to serve as the mayor of my hometown these last 4 years. We've made tremendous progress over the last 4 years of investing in our city employees, like our police and fire department, investing in our parks, our infrastructure. We have a lot of work to do. We got to keep our foot on the gas. Sheboygan has so much opportunity and potential. I love working alongside businesses to help them grow. I love problem solving with our neighbors. I love the investments that we're making in our community. Cities are dynamic organizations and we all have our challenges, but if we have someone who's clear-eyed and has a positive outlook on the future, we can get so much more done. So I'm excited to continue to talk and engage with all of our community members and our constituents over the next few days, and would be honored to have your vote again on April 1st. So thanks everybody again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Sorenson. Thank you, Alder Belanger, for your time today. Thank you for everyone who came to participate in the conversation and for watching from home. We are going to take a short break, and we will be back in just a few minutes with our City of Sheboygan Falls mayoral candidate.